If you're enjoying the stories shared here, I'd be grateful if you subscribed. Your support inspires me to keep creating. Now, let's dive into today's story. I never imagined I'd end up the antagonist in my own love story. Yet there I was, hands trembling, staring at a plain sheet of paper, words written by my husband long ago, now echoing through my guilt. These were the same words he once recited through tears, back when we both believed in forever. He had mailed them back to me, tucked inside a simple white envelope with nothing but a sticky note attached. For haunting words, you broke them all. And in that moment, I couldn't breathe. The truth is, it didn't begin with the affair. I owe it to the story and to him to be honest about that, not to excuse what I did. It was still a betrayal, but I didn't wake up one day and decide to hurt the man who had moved mountains for me. It happened slowly, like wallpaper fading and peeling over time, while I kept pretending the home was still lovely. Isaac and I had been married for 5 years. He was gentle, steady, and fiercely loyal. The kind of man who made pancakes every Sunday and remembered how you took your coffee without ever being told. But he was also the type who bottled up his worries and thought spending time together meant sitting quietly in front of a screen. Me? I craved something louder. I needed passion, connection, attention, and somewhere along the way, I stopped asking for Itan, started resenting him for not sensing the change. That's when Julian entered the picture. He was the complete opposite of Isaac, charismatic, impulsive, captivating. We crossed paths at a marketing conference in Chicago. After a few too many drinks at the hotel bar, we ended up kissing in the elevator. I didn't pull away. That moment sparked a secret life I never thought I'd live. Weekend getaways with the girls were really hotel escapes with Julian. I'd text him under the dinner table, kept a spare toothbrush tucked in my purse. I kept telling myself it was temporary, that I'd end it, that Isaac didn't really love me anymore, that if he did, he would have noticed how distant I'd become. But the truth, he had loved me all along, in ways I didn't understand until it was already too late. One night, while Isaac slept beside me, I slipped out of bed and tiptoed into the hallway to call Julian. I sat on the floor, whispering into the phone, when I heard the quiet creak of floorboards behind me. I turned, heart pounding. Isaac stood there. He didn't raise his voice, didn't shed a tear. He just looked at me like I was a stranger. Then, without saying a word, he walked back to the bedroom. By morning, he was gone. I came downstairs to find the house spotless. His car keys were missing. His wedding band sat alone on the kitchen table. No note, no scene, just absence. I called, texted, begged, no reply. I even went to his office, but his assistant told me he was working remotely for a while. His mother wouldn't speak to me. I kept trying to believe it was temporary, that this was just a phase, that we'd fix it. Then, exactly a week later, that envelope arrived. No return address, just my name. Inside were two things, a folded piece of paper and a small yellow post-it note. His handwriting was unmistakable. You broke them all. My hands shook as I unfolded the paper. It was his wedding vows, the ones he wrote himself, the same ones he kept in his wallet all these years, the ones he read aloud through tears as I stood in white, promising forever. I promise to choose you, even when life gets hard. I promise to listen, even when I don't understand. I promise to protect your heart, even if it means breaking mine. I promise to make you feel wanted, noticed, and loved every single day. I promise to fight for you, for us, for the life we dream of, and the woman you are. I read them again and again until the ink blurred beneath my tears. How had I let things get this far? Julian tried to console me, said Isaac was being dramatic, that what we had was real. But something had shifted. I saw Julian for who he truly was: self-centered, manipulative, a man who thrived on being someone's distraction but never someone's destination. He wasn't my future, he was my excuse. That night, I ended it. Blocked his number, deleted everything. It felt like stumbling out of a burning house, only to realize I had been the one who struck the match. But by then, the fire had already consumed everything. I did everything I could to reach Isaac. Sent emails, wrote letters by hand. I even showed up at his brother's engagement party just to catch a glimpse of him. The moment he saw me, he left. A month went by, and then one ordinary afternoon, I saw him again. He was in the produce section at the grocery store, picking apples. He looked the same, but lighter, like someone who had weathered a storm and finally found stillness. I froze. My heart pounded. When he turned and saw me, our eyes locked. For one long moment, neither of us moved. Then he gave a small, polite smile. "Hi, Eliza," he said. His tone was calm, too calm. I stepped toward him. "Isaac, please, can we talk?" He shook his head slowly. "There's nothing left to say." "There is so much. I'm sorry. I was selfish and blind. I didn't see what I had." "I know," he said gently, cutting me off. "I know you're sorry. I believe that." Tears filled my eyes. "Then, can we try again?" He looked down at the apples in his hand for a long moment. "I spent years trying to love you, right?" he said quietly. "But love can't survive if the other person's always looking somewhere else." "I'm not looking anymore," I whispered. His eyes met mine again, And this time, I saw pain but also peace. I know, but I'm not yours anymore. He turned and walked away, and I stood there, surrounded by strangers, clutching an empty basket. That night, I read his vows again. I still have them. I couldn't bring myself to throw them out. Part of me clings to the hope that maybe, someday, he'll return, that we'll find our way back when time has softened the scars. But deep down, I know better. He loved me enough to write those vows and enough to leave when I betrayed them. I cheated on my husband, and in return, he sent me the vows he once whispered through tears. Now I live with the weight of what I destroyed.